still going to go through all of the evil of begging and being hungry. And for both you and the dog, you need exercise more. And now let's go to the second basic concept, a problem I have with a broad group of diets. This is glucose. This is a picture of glucose on a metabolic pathway chart that the biochemists live by. And we're going to back up from this, leaving glucose in the middle. I promise you glucose is still there. All roads lead to glucose for a reason. Glucose makes the world go round. And nature has perfected our biochemistry to deal with this. Protein can go all the way to energy. As a matter of fact, some amino acids so readily go to sugar that they're called glucogenic amino acids. And of course, you know that carbohydrates can go to energy. Fat can go to energy. There's a reason for this. In the primordial world, as things came along, there was never enough energy. There are 8 hormones that raise blood sugar. Epinephrine, you know, is adrenaline. You get a kick of adrenaline. If you look closely, your blood sugar went up. Many things, 8 hormones, raise blood sugar. Only one lowers it. Nature invented insulin for that rare occasional spike of blood sugar. If you go out in the world and subsist on what it has to offer, this is what you find. Nothing has much sugar in it at all. And by sugar, I mean soluble carbohydrates. Fiber is not quickly digested, so it's not a problem. The average of what you go out there and eat is 3% sugar on an as-fed basis. The one exception is honey. If you add that, the average is still only 7%. What you want to do is you want to avoid blood sugar going above the threshold. Because when it does, when blood sugar goes up, insulin comes out. And here's the key. Insulin, we know, takes blood and puts it into the cell. Insulin does a second chore, a second job. It is equally proficient at this. Insulin takes blood sugar and stores it as fat. It's by design. It's what nature wanted. But nature wanted it once a year, one morning a year. And we often spike our blood sugar 3 times by lunch with just coffee and donuts. Grains tend to be 70% soluble carbohydrate. Dry dog foods are 48% on average. Dry cat foods as well. The reason is, when you make a canned dog food, you don't have to put any sugar in there, any starch. But when you make a dry dog food in an extruder, you have to have what the food technologists call functionality. It's got to expand. And this cannot be achieved with less than about 40% soluble carbohydrate. So the problem is you've got 4 big dogs and feeding them raw is a fortune. And so you're driven to consider dry for economy reasons. And when you feed dry dog food once a day for a lifetime, you have a lifetime that ends up being 2 to 4 years shorter than if you didn't feed dry dog food once a day. We'll talk about some solutions to this. What can you do if you have 4 huge dogs? It's a question of degree. To whatever extent you can lower the dry dog food, you've made their diet better. You can feed some canned. You can feed some frozen. Some. Freeze-dried. Smaller, more frequent meals. Don't spike the blood sugar. The diet that you feed all at one time, if fed occasionally throughout the day, is not a problem. The other thing, if you're reduced to just dry only, look for a diet that is as high as possible in protein and fat and fiber. Because when those go up as a percentage of the diet, the soluble carbohydrate has to go down.